everyone, and we are here today with our friend Jordan Brill, that was already with us in our documentaries. And for sure, thank you so much for your time and for the chat that we will have together.
No problem.
And so we would like to talk a little bit about a little different topics that we took during your past interview. And especially, we would like to focus our attention on some aspect of tattooing that are related of the experience of the customer. And especially, what do you think that is worthy in tattooing? And I don't know if you want to add something about that.
Yeah. So basically, what is your opinion about and how should the tattoo experience be instead?
That's a good question. Well, I guess what's important is that to remember that a long time ago, maybe for me it was about 10 years ago, I was a customer. We remember what that feels like. You come in and maybe it's different in, did you guys start in Italy or?
Yeah.
Started tattooing in Italy. So maybe the culture is a little bit different, but in the US, it's intimidating, which I think can be a good thing because, you have to teach the client and all these things. But I look at other parts of our life, like if you want to go to a nice restaurant, or if you would like to, you're about to take a flight, you're going to fly, you guys travel a lot. Yeah. So you're going to take a flight from maybe Italy to somewhere more far away, Switzerland or something. Sure. Some people want to fly first class. So, and sometimes if it's like, for example, I'm married almost 10 years as well. If it's my wedding anniversary, I want the restaurant to be nice. Sure. I am excited to pay the extra money because I know it's going to be perfect.
Yeah. Yes.
So I think that we forget this. I'm a perfectionist, a lot of tattoo artists are, but we forget that it is okay to focus on things other than the tattoo. What I should say is in addition to the tattoo. We always just focus on art, drawing, tattoo application, products, etc. But I like to think back of when I was first starting to get heavily tattooed. And I would make a deposit, maybe at that time it was $50 US, which is very uncommon now. But I would make a deposit, I would send a reference via email. I love Flash, so I would send an old, Ralph Johnstone image or Bill Jones, and I'd say, I want to get your version of this.
Yeah.
And then I would show up to my appointment, and the guy would ask me, hey, so what do you want? I said, hey man, I have to be in work in like 4 hours. I was a chef at that time, working 12-hour shifts.
Yeah.
And so I would show up and they would say, what do you want to get? And I'd say, whoa. I would think to myself, why did I make a deposit? And why did I send this guy an email if he's going to ignore it?
Yeah.
Sure. So I started thinking about these things with my business because the tattoo culture, I don't like to say that, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
The tattoo culture says, I love tattooing. I love tattooing. I love it more than you. Tattooing is so cool. It's everything for me. And they forget that there's a human being there. And you don't know what's going on in their life. And I don't mean that in a very overly emotional way. It's just sometimes people really need this experience. They really want to have. I like to compare it to going to the spa. You know, I don't know if they call it the same thing in Europe, but yeah,
yes.
Yeah, you're gonna get your facial and go in the jacuzzi or whatever. It's like luxurious.
Yeah.
So for a long time, for maybe the first 8 years of my tattoo career, it was only about the tattoo. And just the way I grew up, I'm from New York State, the countryside. Very, very nice people. Always, please, thank you, please, sir, ma'am. Very kind, very polite. And that comes naturally to me. And I would look around at my coworkers, not for comparison, but just an observation. And I would say, wow, they don't do any of that. Why would somebody go to them? My mind couldn't comprehend it. So lately, my focus has been on, of course I will do a good tattoo. And of course I will spend a long time on the drawing. That comes naturally to me. I will never cheat the drawing. I will never trace something off of the internet. That's just not me.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's not what I offer. So lately, I'm more focused on how can I make this tattoo worth more money for my client, because that helps me as well. I feel like, and maybe this is my question for you guys, and it's very common for tattooers, is burning out. You know this phrase, like, I have nothing left. I have no petrol in the tank anymore, right?
Yeah.
And I think part of that is being underpaid.
Yeah.
And so I try and do everything the best that I can for each tattoo. But as a result, I do less tattoos.
Sure.
And as a result, I give them even more.
Yeah.
And as a result, I am happier.
Yes.
And as a result, I have less burnout. Does that make sense?
Totally.
Absolutely, 100%.
We were a lot when we were talking about your interview. Actually, we were thinking about this. How can I say the dichotomy between the this working way of thinking that is totally fast and very, very much spread all over the world, and everyone is just okay, I come, I just shoot something, and nothing is very important in any part of this job, and it's just, I don't know, maybe it's a kind of desertification inside of your soul. I don't know. It's something that it really goes low and low, and I don't know. It's becoming really this kind of word that they say the industry, right? More than a part of personal experience. And we were also talking about the fact that many people want to have, as you say, a very good moment, a kind of very luxury experience, like it's me time, and in that moment you maybe have a very, very bad day, but it's not the important. The important is the customer, and it's his time, her time, not yours. So it's that's our way of thinking, of course.
This is why I try every time to give people first a good experience, because as she said, it's your time, it's not mine. For me, my job also. If I love, as I mentioned before, I love my job, but it's my job. So for me, it's a kind of usual thing that I do every day. But it's your moment, it's your time, and you decide to come to me. You choose me, so I have to give you the best moment that you need to have. And this is why I'm asking you. I can say from my side that my customers feel, for example, really comfortable when they understand that they are the focus of the time that we will spend together. Starting from asking them if they are comfortable, if they need anything, or to stop anytime, because it's the first thing that I say. Can you talk about how the environment and the mood can be different in a shop?
Absolutely. I love that you guys share that opinion. I agree with what you were saying. I do not like to say the tattoo industry. I hate that term. I say this is the tattoo business. This is my business. Like you said, it's your child. Like, every day I think about my business.
Sure.
I don't think about trying to impress other tattooers. I think about my customers. So I love that. I love that we agree because it's actually a very rare opinion. Yeah. Right now, it seems like everyone, maybe every other, like 50% of my clients, they think that they want to be a tattoo artist.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, you don't, man. Like, this job sucks. Unless you are obsessed with tattooing, this job sucks. So when it comes to my shop environment, right now it's a private studio. I'm moving to a more public space, but things that I am intentional about, the colors on the wall. No black, no gray. Colorful. No Cupid dolls and like various antiques just nailed to the wall. I don't need the head of a deer on my wall. You know, and like, if you like that stuff, that is great. You should keep it in your house.
Yeah, right.
But it doesn't belong in a tattoo shop. No. Because what if you have to think about the customer, like, what if?
Yeah.
What if they are a vegan? Do they want to see? I'm not saying you should like fake who you are or anything, but like, why would you have a dead animal nailed to your wall? I think it's cool. I have deer antlers in my house. They were from my grandfather.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's cool, but I don't think that a tattoo shop is a place to store things that you bought at a vintage store or whatever. Yeah. So lots of cleanliness, no, it's like a New York Jewish term, but tchotchkes, you know, just like stuff, just crap, you know, crap everywhere. And also the music that I choose for my tattoo shop is very intentional. So I like old things. I'm sure that you guys do as well.
Yeah.
Old stuff is always cooler than new stuff. That's my rule.
Yeah, for us it's the same.
So I have a playlist that I made on Spotify. It's actually quite popular, but it's over 100 hours long, and it is just old from pre-1970s country and rock.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Motown and stuff. I like that music, but why I choose it is because a lot of people are not familiar with that music. Yeah. So maybe they know one or two songs, but they don't know 115 hours of music. So what I think, in like you mentioned, this is their moment. So another thing to recognize is that getting tattooed is hard, very difficult. laying there, and you have to, and now it is worse and worse. People do not know how to meditate. They do not know how to just sit there and exist.
Oh, yeah.
I need to do this. I need to talk to this person. Touch me. Don't touch me. They think the problem is outside when it's actually in here. So the music that I play, they know that my customers know that they like it. It's very pleasant to listen to, but they do not recognize it. So they are kind of, in a good way, they're stuck in this moment. Wow, that's a cool song. I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
Wow, ooh, that was pretty. It's a way to kind of, like you said, get them lucid and be like, they're listening with their ears. They're seeing with their eyes, like everything they see is clean. And in many tattoo shops, you actually want to hide. You say, I don't want to see what's going on over there. I don't want to hear the metalcore music playing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yes, totally.
So I thought I started my own shop a year and a half ago. And one of the things that I thought about is, if I do this, I kind of know exactly what I'm going to do. How can I change the vibe of the shop? Because you know how it is, like, this is our first time like talking face to face, right? If you're just chatting with someone on Instagram, it will never translate to this. Absolutely. So I'm very perfectionistic, maybe robotic when I type things. And I like to give people a lot of information because I like a lot of information. But that doesn't translate to my personality always. And so I thought, okay, if I can just get people inside the door, they will have a tattoo experience that they've never had before. And with almost a 100% return rate. After I tattoo somebody once, they always, and I'm not saying this to brag, I'm just like, wow, I can't believe it. People say, you're doing my sleeve. No question. Do my sleeve, do my back. I want to keep having this experience over and over. I don't want to be told that I'm stupid or ignorant or listen to this crappy music or look at I don't know if you know this phrase, but dust bunny. It's like when all the dust collects the hair and it's on the floor and you're getting tattooed and you see that and you say, oh, don't compare me. Like a little animal. I have guest spotted many times where they give me a key to the shop because I'm there for like a week, and I'll come in early just to clean. It's not even my shop, but I say, oh my gosh, this place is disgusting. I don't want my customers to have that experience.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Yes.
So those are a couple of things that I focus on. I also try and make communication with me very simple, but very professional. Yeah. I got a second phone number that people can send a quick text message, and also they can send a picture. Yeah. Because before I hated emailing because I'm very polite. Hello, sir. I hope you are well.
Yeah. I do the same thing
every time. You want to cover
time.
up, but you didn't send me a picture of what I am covering. These types of questions you answer over and over, and they ask over and over. I said, how can I make that let's do less of that and more of talking about your tattoo or getting you excited.
Yes. Also, I would like to ask you a question about the cleanliness, indeed. And most of the time, of course, all of us travel and see several kind of experiences or I don't know, every country has a different law or regulation, and I don't know, products must be in a way or another, must contain something, should not contain something else, or for example, Europe is different from other kind of certification required and stuff like that. How do you feel compared to the regulations that are in North America? How is in North America? Are you feeling that they, I don't know, for example, should be improved, or I don't know? What's your feeling about that? And yeah, how do you relate to this? And yeah.
Well, that's a great question. I've never thought of that. But one thing I like to keep in mind about America is that we hated being told what to do so much that we went and started our own country. Like a lot of places now, like marijuana is legal. In some states, all drugs are legal. You know, I don't use drugs. I actually don't drink myself. But I don't think it's maybe the government's job to tell you you can't do that thing. My perspective, I think North America, it's state regulated. So, and even sometimes the county. So, county is like the province within the state, you know. Nashville is very good. They have some very ridiculous laws. When I went to open my own tattoo shop, I would read the laws and I was very confused. They said the ceiling needs to be made out of plastic, acrylic.
Okay.
And I said, why? Like, okay, if I have a client that's bleeding and maybe they shake their arm and the blood goes up on the ceiling, that is gross, but when will another bloody client's arm touch the ceiling? Like, it doesn't make sense. So, you know, our job is more about cross-contamination than cleanliness. And it's a hard, we have this phrase in America, it's a hard pill to swallow. Like, it's a very difficult thing to say, okay, I understand, but I don't agree with it.
Yeah.
But our paper towels, they're not sterile. They did not come out of a sterilizer. Our cotton buds, not out of a sterilizer most of the time. The wooden stick, our ointment, our inks, none of that is sterile, right? It's just clean.
Yeah.
And I think it's our job to be clean. I don't use a clipboard cover. That's one thing I'm very old school on. I hate clipboard covers. Do I clean them at the end of the day? Yes. But during the tattoo, I don't care. I think that in America, right now what's happening, maybe it's the same everywhere. Lots of people want to start tattooing. They think they will love it. They are not going to be good tattoo artists. We know this already. They don't have a good reason for becoming a tattoo artist. Most of the time, they don't even have tattoos. They don't even know what it is to be a tattoo artist, but they think they want to be one. My perspective with all of that is that the best usually rise to the top. And so I think the people that make a dirty tattoo shop and make people uncomfortable and are not kind to their clients, in 5 years they won't be here. It's too difficult. They will not have customers, you know, because people like us exist. Why would you, you know, if what's an example? You know, Spirit Airways?
Yeah.
If it's the same price as United, I'm going to go to United. Like, I'm not going to fly Spirit. You know, and so I think that's my perspective on tattooing in general. I see a lot of people starting, but I know they will not stay. Because if it's difficult for me to stay right now, and it's difficult for me to make a living, it's going to be worse for them.
And regarding this, I remember a few years ago, I heard a kind of story about in the north of Italy, the people that are not tattooers start opening because just they had money, opening tattoo shops for only for people that like listening to trap music, so you know, with tattoos in the face or stuff like that, and also people under 18 years old start doing have tattoos in the face. You can see a lot of people, especially in Italy. In our case, we have seen a lot of guys, really young guys, with tattoos in the face without knowing also the problems that they can happen in the future, because it's easy to have a tattoo when you are young just because okay, I don't give a shit, so I can do it. But yeah, this is a big problem. I remember when I started having tattoos on myself, I started tattooing in 2008. Now it's 15 years. When I start having tattoos, I remember I say, okay, I would like to have something small and kind of hidden. Also, if I was sure 100% that I had tattoos on my body, like 90%, you know, the 90% of my body, because I would like to have also my head, not my face, but I would like to have also my head and stuff like that. But now I can see a lot of people that ask me, can you cover this? And you never know, because they also asking, can you cover with this? And it's something not doable at all, because they choose something that is like, I don't know, fine line stuff to cover a big lettering tattoos on the forearm. They say, no, and they just looking at you and say, why not? And it's weird also to explain sometimes. Also, it seems easy to do it, but it's not. So
yeah, and also especially in our country, that it's not really, we don't really have this huge tattoo culture, at least from the past decades. I mean, now it's a little bit different. I mean, there are very good tattooers, and many people want good tattoos, so it's starting changing. But for sure, in Italy, it's still you're not really well seen sometimes if you have visible tattoos. So it's not really, you know, a cultural background that we can handle easily in this.
And so we were talking also about the pain in tattoos. So like how to give people also a good experience regarding the pain and stuff like this.
Oh yeah.
And one of the first slogan that for the coil machine, for the first coil machines, it was painless tattooing, you know.
Yeah.
So for the old stuff, yeah, painless tattooing. And so let's talk about the boundaries and how important it is to take care of this aspect and making people feeling less pain. Also talking about tools and needles, and apart from from an experienced tattooer.
Sure. Yeah, that is something that I focus a lot on. It's actually one of the most pertinent, it's something I'm thinking about the most right now. Every day I do a different experiment. I don't know about you guys, but I experiment every day when I tattoo.
Yeah.
I always try something different. And it's very difficult. At the end of the day, it's kind of like when you're learning to tattoo. Some days you just need to accept the hard fact that tattooing is very difficult. You have this big back heavy thing that's vibrating, and the person is sweating and moving and breathing. It's just difficult. And I think also with getting tattooed, it is just always painful.
Yeah.
I was reading a book that was not about tattooing or anything like this. and they said this phrase, and it stopped me, and I had to stop and think about it. They said, in this life, pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. And so I've been learning a lot about pain techniques. I have, maybe 85 or 90% of my body tattooed at this point. I've had maybe back team for 10 of the tattoos or something. Most of them without anything. So I've seen some difficult days.
Yeah.
I'm learning right now. I actually started this conversation on the Launchpad community, Russ Abbott's app. I had a really cool conversation. That was like one of the coolest things that I've talked about on there. I said, hey guys, I'm new and I would like to start this conversation about how can we control pain during a tattoo. Because right now, the conversation is numbing cream or nothing. It's like so extreme. And the person that wants the numbing cream, I think that their expectation is false. Yeah. It doesn't exist. There is no such thing as a painless tattoo. And in that world, they think that if I feel any pain, I am suffering, and that is wrong. The mindset is bad. Yeah. The people that say, wow, that back team feels much better, that's different. That's helping to control. So here's what I've learned so far. You will always feel the pain, but you can separate it in your mind from suffering. Pain can be separated into 3 different feelings. It can feel like pressure, it can feel like tingling, like electricity, or it can feel like heat, like it's warm on your body. So I usually instruct my clients, especially if it's one of their first tattoos, I say, this is going to feel strange. I want you to think about it. Don't try and run away from it. Think about it and think, does this feel like pressure, tingling, or heat? And when we do that, we change our mindset from this is painful to this is just a feeling. I am not going to die. I don't need to run away.
Yeah.
And I think if we can start there, that's the best. So it's basically instruction on meditation. I don't know about you guys, but I have had meditation practice in the past, and it seems to be good for everything.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
it just makes life easier.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, we are really into this.
Oh,
this
yeah,
things.
yeah. I mean, we discovered years ago that we didn't know how to breathe.
Yes. I'm still working on it.
Yeah.
I'm still working on it.
Yes.
Yeah, we will do the same every day, so.
Yes.
That's awesome. So I think that's a very important thing. Another thing that came up in the conversation is what types of products do you use? And I think this was a question you guys had.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I switched is I'm no longer using like A&D or anything like a petroleum ointment. I use a natural salve from this company called Vitalitree. They're just tattooer owned. It's a small company. And I like to use the one that has CBD.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cannabinoid. And that keeps the swelling down. Unfortunately, it smells like I've been smoking weed a little bit.
Yeah,
I tell my clients, I promise. But that seems to help keep the inflammation down. And I also switched from using green soap. Now I just use Dr. Bronner's unscented and just a small amount of it.
Yeah.
Every time we take a break, I have Bactine that's in a foam bottle from Amazon.
Oh, yeah.
So when you press it down, it makes a foam like bubbles. And that kind of keeps the Bactine in its place. It doesn't drip down like water does.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then wrap it in saran or plastic wrap and take 5 minutes. And then witch hazel soak for sure. And these things I feel like altogether help the comfort of my client. And lastly, something that was really important for me was buying more pillows.
Yeah.
Or there's these special kind of pillows that massage therapists use. My mother was a massage therapist, so I'm familiar with these things. They call them bolsters. Just if we can't change the fact that the tattoo hurts, right?
Yeah.
But what we can do is at least, like, I'm trying to think of if you've ever gotten your back tattooed.
Yeah.
This position is not comfortable.
At all.
Getting your ribs tattooed when your hand falls asleep,
Yeah.
that's not comfortable.
No.
That's maybe if this can still hurt, but if your hand feels good and your shoulder feels good,
Yeah.
and the temperature in the tattoo shop is not too cold or too warm, these things allow people to sit for longer.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. And I usually do the same with, because it's almost every time that people say it will hurt, but I used to say we can start from the thing that is a needle. So I cannot say that it will be like nothing. So it's a needle, so you can feel something for sure. It's kind of painful for sure, but the thing is also that the more you are kind of relaxed, and the more you will enjoy the moment. And you can ask me also for something during the tattoo. Maybe you say, why you're doing like this? So if you talk to me, it will be easier for you to enjoy that moment.
Also to embrace it.
Yeah,
right?
also to embrace it.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah, you will never have this opportunity again.
Yeah.
That's the cool thing about tattoos. That's why they cost so much. They're so valuable. Like, I still can't believe my back piece has been done for years.
Yeah.
I still can't believe, like, I can't get another one. Like, it's done.
Sure.
You know? And I remember that experience, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
I had a great experience getting my back tattooed. Did it hurt? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a cool experience and a cool story, as well. If you guys travel a lot, if you are telling a story A, I flew from Rome to Sicily and everything went perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. I flew from Rome to Sicily and everything went wrong. They lost my bag. My cell phone battery was dead. That's a good story.
Sure. Yeah.
Yes,
So,
of course.
It's a good experience. Like, it's a cool experience that way. We all have experiences like that getting tattooed.
Yeah.
We remember, oh my gosh, that tattoo artist was crazy. He was on the phone. He was having an argument with somebody. I don't know. Like.
Yeah. And then it's also another thing. To give an example, I never use the headphones. Never. Because I would like to talk first with my customer, and also I need to be sure that he don't need anything, that my customer don't need anything, and I used to look to my customer all the time, because I have to be sure, and maybe it's too much for how many times I say everything is okay, are you feel comfortable. Maybe it's a lot of times, so maybe sometimes people say, okay, stop it. But I really want to be sure that everything is kind of perfect.
Yes, absolutely. I never shut up when I'm tattooing.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, talking, being social comes naturally to me.
Yeah.
Like, my wife is more of a quiet person. Being in public is not as easy for her. It comes easy to me. I can.
Yeah.
You need me to be funny, I will be funny. You need me to be reassuring, I can be reassuring.
Yeah.
So I never shut up the whole tattoo day. The only time I stop talking, I say, hey, real quick, we just can't talk for the next 30 seconds because these lines, I'm doing a circle or something.
Yeah.
So just focus on your breathing for a minute, and then we'll talk again.
Yeah.
And you know how it is after the line work.
Yeah.
You can be more free.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
No, I do the same. Yeah.
Very important to talk to your client because if you have headphones on and you're listening to Joe Rogan or whatever the hell, learning about aliens while you're tattooing somebody's ribs, like, what if they're about to pass out? What if they're maybe feel sick to their stomach? Maybe, they really need to talk to somebody. Hey, my dad died yesterday or whatever. You never know. Yeah. And they will never, like we were just talking about, this is the one experience they will have. So it's very important. And so from all of that, I think that boils down to a very hard question that us tattoo artists need to ask ourselves is, how much is that worth? Yeah. And I think tattoo artists get very uncomfortable when it comes to money. I know I do. But every day I would come home, like for most of my career, I would come home and I knew I did not charge enough money. Sure. I said, dude, I worked, I took 5 hours to do the drawing, and then I showed up early. I was all set up for them. I worked on them all day. I did all of these things, right? Yeah. And then I was charging the same as the people around me that didn't do those things. And at the end of the day, I would feel like, wow, I was very intentional to take care of my customer, but I was not taking care of myself, by charging enough money. So that has been something that recently changed for me that has been very helpful. I don't know about you guys. I just want to encourage everyone out there that if you are excited to add value to the experience of your client, do not charge what other people are charging. Yeah. There's a reason why you pay more money for a first class ticket, because they offer you more stuff.
Yes.
And some people want to pay it.
Yeah, sure, 100%. Yeah.
Yes, totally. I mean, it's something permanent, and it's something that also the clients say that it will be permanent, so it must be good. But we are the ones that have to realize really how it's important that they will be permanent. So it's not only about something that is on the skin, but it's also in the experience, right? So and it will always be in your skin and in your mind, and if you had a bad experience, you will always remember that. And there's something that I will do a little step back to what you said about the fact that people with headphones can are like ignoring the people that are in front of them. And I think that I was also thinking while you were talking that I think maybe I'm also asking you about this. Do you think it's also something that is changing also with the tools that people are using? What I mean is that using a rotary machine, for example, right? So it's something that it's a lot easier. There are like very, very modern tools that just go. Okay?
You almost don't need to
hear
anything.
People instead using coil cannot wear the headphones.
Yeah, because I try to stay to pay attention all the time. If my machine, like yesterday, I was talking to my wife about that. I was making like colors on the tattoo, and I heard my machine like doing a weird sound. So I stopped tattooing, and I discovered that was the rubber bands on the coil.
On the back coil.
On the back coil, just touching a bit. And I was why my machine sounds like this. So you can imagine without listening anything, it's weird. So I never discovered this, and maybe you just try to color something that the result was not good because I just have the headphones. So
Of course.
yeah,
One thing I usually tattoo with coils as well. They're my preferred. I keep trying to make my life easier, and I'll
Yeah.
order a rotary, and then I hate it.
yeah,
You know, I got a Dan Cuban. I sold it for a coil. You know, like they just do not tattoo in the same way that my hand is comfortable with. And again, the feedback of listening is very important for me as well.
Yeah.
And one thing that I like to educate my clients on is that the what we call the fluctuations in the sound. I say that is why the coil is better. That is it. I shouldn't say it's better. That's why it's better for me.
but yeah,
Because
true.
I said that is why I know that I am not beating up somebody's skin.
Yeah.
When you have a rotary and there's no feedback, like with a Dan Cuban liner, there is no feedback.
Sure.
You can do no stretch and just barely touch the skin, and it looks like it's making the line.
Yeah.
But when it's healed, it's different.
Yeah.
Because there's no feedback. You don't think, okay, I'm going much deeper now.
Yeah.
You know, I remember early on in my career, I was traveling. I guest spotted all around the country of the U.S., maybe 10 different tattoo shops on one road trip.
Oh.
Drove from California to New York and
That's
back.
cool.
And I discovered I wanted to eventually move to Nashville.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm here now. But I was tattooing at this shop in Ohio. Actually, I didn't do any tattoos. I just listened to this guy talk all day. He'd been tattooing for a long time. And he said that somebody else said something to him one time. He was trying to tune a machine. And he's like, man, I want it to hit harder. I want it to hit harder, you know, for a liner or whatever. And this guy had told him, hey man, you need to allow the spring to be a spring. Let it find the hum, you know.
Yeah.
And just rotaries don't have that necessarily that I have found. I'm always on the search for the perfect coil machine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do people have 40 coil machines that all are supposed to do the same thing, right?
Yeah.
And you're a machine builder as well.
Yeah.
Correct? Yeah. So you know, like even with the same frame geometry, you know, if you shim the coil wrong or whatever, it's going to hit differently.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm becoming old, you know. But when people ask me how many volts,
Yeah.
that is the dumbest question. I'm like, dude, I have machines that run at 4 volts and I have machines that run at 10 volts
Yeah.
to achieve the same result. Like it's just a bad question.
Yeah.
My power supply doesn't have numbers on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
They say, what voltage are you using? I say, I have no idea.
Sure. It's
hear.
like
So-
when people ask me for the CPS. So
Yeah.
it's everything is okay. I can tell you mine. I can try and say, okay, for me it's like this, but you have to find your best stuff for your needs. So I cannot say perfectly. I can say maybe it's also because it depends how faster or slower you go with your hand. This is why we started building machines. It's not about. So I used to buy a lot of coin machines because I love it, and I cannot say that the machines that I used to buy, they were bad machines. So that were bad for me, not bad machines. so I say, okay, this one is, I don't know, it's too slow, like this. I try to set them the best way, but I say, okay, it's not for me. After a while, I started studying the base of the physics. I say, okay, I'm not stupid. I can do it, and how to win the coil in a proper coil, and about the how many
Wraps?
yeah, how many wraps,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
and about the springs, the thickness of the spring, and so it's you have to find the best for you. It's not about the brand.
I think it's
Yes.
also I don't know. I kind of try. I mean, I imagine all the process of tattooing in as it is. Everything is alive, right?
Yeah.
In a world that it's now going to the artificial intelligence anyhow, anywhere. I don't know. For me, the feeling of both the skin, the people, the customer is alive, and the machine that is a coil. I mean, in my opinion, of course, but that seems more alive than a rotary. Like, so it's response to the skin. It's a electromagnetic phenomenon, right? So it's something that comes from the nature, and it gives something that is helped and driven by the skin and your hand. That everything is alive in that process. So I don't know. It has some features that must be explored time by time, and it's I don't know. Maybe it's my feeling, at least.
I agree with you. That is something like there have been days when I've been experimenting with a rotary, and sometimes I'm like, yeah, sorry, this doesn't have much of a sound. You know, I'm like, it's not as cool. It will never be as cool. And you know, for a long time, a lot of the early tattooers in like the UK, they used rotaries, they used direct drives and stuff, and I appreciate that history. But like, man, it's so crazy. Like about coil machines, they're what we would say retrofitted doorbells, right?
Yeah.
The electromagnetic doorbell, but the technology was originally designed for a doorbell.
Yeah.
But it's almost like it was designed for tattooing, and that the doorbell came from the tattoo machine.
Yeah.
Because it's so perfect. Like, you know, like if you've ever tattooed with a rotary, when you're like, all right, this is going really well.
Yeah.
And then if you have the same thing but with a coil machine, when it's going really well, you're like, oh, hell yeah, this is so easy. It's doing my job for me.
Yeah.
You know, I used to work with this guy who used to work with this guy. They used a scientific strobe light
Yeah.
and viewed what happens with a needle in a coil machine versus a rotary machine.
Cool.
And it's funny because the rotary guys are trying to copy this now. They're trying to achieve the same thing, you know, like Dan Cuban
Yeah.
and the Pintos guy and some other guys.
Yeah.
But when you look at the needle in slow motion, the rotary is just going straight up
Yeah.
and down.
Like catching
And
the
the
skin.
coil, it slaps the top of the coil, or the armature bar slaps the top of the coil, and it goes just a little bit. And that little bit changes everything especially I find with color packing.
Yeah.
Like, also lining is always better on a coil, but
Sure.
what you can achieve with color packing. Like, the fastest tattooers in the world do not use rotaries. Everybody knows that. Like, I work in the same town as Chad Kuplinger. The guy,
right.
he can tattoo somebody's entire ribs, like the whole thing in like 4 hours. He's using a coil machine, man. Like,
Yeah, sure.
even with a plastic tube, it's still faster, you know?
Yeah. And you usually build your machines too, right?
Yeah, if you can call it that. I've assembled my own machines from the beginning. So I still tattoo with those. Most of them are my preferred machines, actually.
Sure. And
I just got lucky, I guess.
And you also used to do the needles by yourself in the past, or?
So I always wanted to learn how to make needles. I'm actually a self-taught tattooer.
Yeah.
I never. So everything has been teach myself, take notes, see if it works, and then come back to your notes and say, no,
Yeah.
But needles is something that was taught to me. I eventually found myself working at a tattoo shop in San Diego. It was a new shop in Oceanside, and it's called The Arcade. It's a tattoo museum. It has a gigantic, it might be the largest collection of Ralph Johnstone flash in the world. I know the owner, Jay Betts, Jay, if you're out there.
Yeah.
and the owner of Great Lakes Tattoo in Chicago, they both want Ralph Johnstone because Ralph Johnstone used to work in Oceanside, California, and sometimes in Chicago. And so, you know, the guys at Great Lakes say, hey, Ralph Johnstone, he's a Chicago guy. And the guys in California say, Ralph Johnstone, he's a California guy. But the owner of that shop is also a self-taught tattooer, and he knows so much and has taught me so much. He helped me learn so many things, but one of the things I said, hey man, could you please take time to show me how to make needles? I know it's pretty much irrelevant now. They cost 50 cents to buy them, $1 if they're, you know, the best.
Yeah.
But can you please show me how to make them? And so he showed me his way of making needles, and this was a busy walk-in shop, very busy. You know, we would do 4 to 8 tattoos a day, most of us.
Yeah.
Just boom, boom, boom. And for like 6 months, I only tattooed with needles that I made.
Oh.
Wow.
So it was, I would work, you know, 5 or 6 days a week at the shop doing walk-in. And then on my day off, I would just make needles.
Yeah, sure.
And then, if I made a bad batch, it would really suck. But so yeah, that was taught to me by a guy named Jason Betts.
Yeah, it's amazing, really.